everyone, my name is Mariana and today I'll be talking to you guys about genetically modified organisms. And my main claim is that genetically modified organisms are unsafe. Just some background, a gene is a unit of instructions in DNA that is specific to a function or a characteristic. Genetic engineering is the selective modification of genes by scientists, and GMOs are genetically modified organisms such as plants or animals that have been genetically changed with the use of genetic engineering. The way that scientists do genetic engineering is by combining DNA from different animals, bacteria, or plants to produce desirable traits in crops or livestock. And desirable traits are size, color, taste, and disease resistance. And GMOs attract the attention of businesses, farmers, and consumers because they are cheaper to grow and they're cheap to buy. And I got this information from International Service of the Agribiotech Applications. My first supported claim is that GMOs are banned or strictly controlled in over 60 countries. This indicates that GMOs are hazardous towards the environment, and that's why they ban them. The Non-GMO Project reported that GMOs are banned or strictly controlled specifically in all of the European Union countries, and these include Australia, England, and Japan and France. France 24 is a really well-known network in France, and they reported on the banning of MON 810. This is a type of seed that Monsanto sells. And then the Organic Consumers Association states that Monsanto is one of the largest agribusiness biotech companies in the whole world. In the United States, they currently own 40% of cropland to grow genetically modified organisms, and so this is about 151.4 million acres of land, and worldwide they own about 282 million acres of land to grow or sustain livestock and crops. According to an article from the Ecotoxicology and Environmental Safety Journal, MON 8110 and other similar GM crops are toxic to the environment, to environmentally essential insects. And these toxic crops affect honeybees, and there are toxic proteins in genetically modified crops that disturb the learning performance of honeybees. In several studies that this article reported, the overexposure of a protein called CRY1AB that is found in GM crops such as MON 810 have affected the hunting ability of the bee. So this affects the way that they pollinate. So obviously if bees can't pollinate, that's really important because then we won't have food. I mean, some pollination is done by the wind, but what isn't done by the wind has to be done by the bees. So we need them to be stable and have strong hunting skills. My second supportive claim is that genetically modified organisms are a threat to the health of humans as well, not just the environment. And the Greenpeace organization reports on a study that demonstrated that the CRY1AB protein found in genetically modified corn does not disintegrate rapidly like many assumed it did many years ago when it was first introduced. So scientists believe that this lack of the breakdown in the human intestines may be linked to this protein causing allergic reactions, and for those of us that have allergies, we know that that's not very fun. So, and then I found two other studies from the Institute for Responsible Technology. One of the experiments was that when 40 rats were fed genetically modified tomatoes for 28 days, half of the rats formed stomach lesions, so they started bleeding from their stomachs. And 7 of these rats died halfway into the experiment, so they had to be replaced. Also keep in mind that rats are 69% genetically similar to humans, and this is according to Cold Spring Laboratory Press. So since they are so similar to us, like the negative effects that genetically modified crops are having on their bodies, that can happen to us as well, just in a less intense version. The other study was that rats were fed a type of Monsanto genetically modified corn, and it's called MON 863. And the reason there are different types of corn is because if we have corn grown here in California and corn in the Midwest, there's different types of soil and different just a different environment. So that's why we need different types of corn. So that's why Monsanto makes so many different types of corn with genetic engineering. And so when the rats were fed this corn, the scientists started to notice that there was changes in their blood cells, kidneys, and livers, and these changes started to indicate the initiation of diseases or illnesses. That's it. Thank you.
All right, the proposition's clearly identified, but there is no preview of what the supporting points are going to be. You have some very clear definitions, and you give source citations on the definitions. I appreciate that. When you get to the body of the speech, you do label the first claim. However, it's kind of comes after the evidence that you're using to support that claim, and then later on in the argument, there's really another claim about the dangers to the environment, pollination, for instance, and all those sorts of things that are affected by it. And that should probably be its own separate claim because it seems very distinctive from the first piece of information that you're citing. The second claim I thought was very clearly labeled, and you developed some good evidence on those points. I thought you did a nice job citing your evidence in the presentation. There was one place where you're having to do secondary citation of studies, and that I think is a little problematic, but for the most part you had primary evidence, and I appreciated that. You did seem like you were rushing a little bit. Obviously, I think you had some more to say, but you ran out of time, and you need to project your voice a little bit more so that it's easier for everybody to hear you. Thank you.